complaints. Craig's on a rant again, no restraints. Bad analogies flying through the air. Quiz time's coming, you best beware. Nathan's there with his keyboard and flair, singing AI songs about stags everywhere. Blind, but he's got vision in spades, turning football chaos into digital parade. It's Mansfield Matters, where the banter's strong. From one called dreams to a quiz gone wrong. They laugh, they moan, but they all agree it's the best show in the football league. Yeah, Mansfield Matters, come and take your seat. From field mill chants to the broadcast beat. Alan's the voice you hear in the stands, lifting the crowd with those golden hands. Joy and light, that's his claim to fame. When he's on the pod, it's a brighter game. Here comes Cam, the baby-faced lad. Loves Holly Oaks, and that drives Craig mad. Half the fans cheer, half roll their eyes, but he's Mansfield through and through, no disguise. It's Mansfield Matters, where the laughs are free. From quiz disasters to PA glee. The chat, they joke, they set the tone. It's more than football, it's a home. Now climbs the elder, calm and wise, drops one-liners that catch you by surprise. Nick's got shirts from every game. If you've worn amber, he knows your name. And then there's Jim, a man of few words, dry as toast yet strangely superb. The steer is sharp, the pot's secret sauce. It's Mansfield Matters, the pride, the show. From laughter highs to the rants below. Through wins and losses, through cheers and chatter, they prove one truth: Mansfield Matters. So grab your scarf and join the crew. The staff's through and so are you. Hit subscribe, don't miss that sound. It's the best damn podcast around. Mansfield Matters. It really does.
You know, it's true what they say, that time flies when you're having fun. And you know what the true indicator of fun is? Well, it's when things like this happen. Only JB9 could come off the bench, go up front, score a goal, and then finish the game at left back. What a guy. The Stags 2-0 win over Plymouth Argyle in the week has certainly left us with smiles on our faces, as good form seems to continue for Nigel Clough's side. But as November is quickly upon us and a little break for the Cups, can that form go from league to cup action and see us progress in a number of competitions? Tonight on the Mansfield Matters podcast, after a week or so away, we recap on all we've missed, and what we've missed is Stags' absolute goodness. As always, come and have your say on your team. Tell us what you've enjoyed about the last few weeks, what's been your favourite moment, and can the Stags turn that good form into cup form too? This is the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield matters. Oh, who doesn't love it when JB9 does, well, JB9 things, really. Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Mansfield Matters podcast, the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us again. Do you know, it's quite funny, you know, when you go off on holiday and you forget how the podcast works. So trying to sort everything out before the show, I couldn't remember a thing. So let's see if I can remember how we introduce people on the show and say hello and good evening and welcome to the podcast panel that are joining us tonight. First, let's cross over to a man who converted his garage into a shirts emporium. Evening, Nick.
Hello, Craig. Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. Been away. I'm back. Stags are doing all right. So, what
It's
more
good
could we
times.
ask for?
Good times all around. A man who is always happy, just never shows it. But he was delighted. I turned around and I saw him dancing for delight when Jordan Bowery scored. I saw him giving it all that, jumping up and down, high-fiving everybody on the road behind. He thinks I didn't see him, but I did. Evening, Jim.
Evening, Craig. Evening, all. Yeah, I was dancing. I was relieved, I must admit, when Jordan scored. I didn't think that second goal would ever come, but thank God it did.
Yeah, thank God it did indeed. And a man who, well, he was as delighted as everybody else and will continuously play the Jordan Bowery clip until he scores again next time, to be honest. It's Alan Wilson. Evening, Al.
Evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody.
Lovely to see you as always. Thanks so much for joining us as ever. If you want to have your say on your team, feel free to do so in the comments below throughout the show, and we'll cover all things Stags. Now, we've got a lot to pick off since we were last on. As Nick's mentioned, Nick's been on holiday. I've been on holiday, which means we didn't do a podcast last week. So I think that's Luton. Who else did we play? Was it Wigan? Was it the drawing against Wigan? I can't remember. And then the Plymouth game as well. So we've got a lot to cover off. And to be fair, Nick, we've both been on holiday and we've come back and Stags are in good form. Have we sort of dozed off on our travels back, and are we now living in a dream state?
I don't know. I should have missed the Plymouth one, but obviously it got cancelled. I'm glad they did. That was all right, wasn't it? I didn't expect the Luton one while I was on holiday. I just sat around the pool seeing that result come in. That was very highly unexpected. And then a decent point in between. 3 games, no loss, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, which, we don't get many of those knocking around, do we? So it's been great. The league table, I think we don't need to look at that. But if you want to feel positive, looking at where we are, 8th in the table or whatever, is 6 points off the top. I think they said on the way when I listened to the radio on the way back home. It's madness, isn't it? Really, considering that we had a bit of a poor start the first few games, and we've just changed the system, and it's all clicking, which is great.
And all of that said, Jim, it's clicking with a consistent starting lineup. Nigel Clough hasn't changed it, I think, for about 4 or 5 games now. And still got players to come back in. So it seems to all be falling together at the right time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we really clicked into gear when he changed the formation to the 4-2-3-1. I think that really, really suits what we've got. But the players who've been available have done well, but we've still got a good few players coming back. And I think you look at this recent form, I think it can't go unsaid that Liam Roberts has been probably our best player. Even though we're doing well, our goalkeeper is still our best player. And I think he's really moved the needle in terms of certainly results. But the frustrating thing is we are very inefficient to come to goal at the other end. And where could we be with a more efficient, ruthless goal scoring streak? If Lee Gregory was still around, that's the only frustrating thing.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to be said for having that killer instinct in front of goal. We'll come on to successful number 9s later on, Al, but just recapping the last 3 games or so. I'm going to cause controversy here. I know we're only a couple of minutes into the podcast, but I'm going to throw bombs out there, right? I think that the reason why we dropped points against Wigan, it's Alan Wilson's fault.
I wondered if you'd come on to that, Craig. No, I don't think it was my fault. I don't think, we played well enough to score 2 goals. I think that was the main reason.
No. I think, right, what happened was, obviously, you weren't there at the start of the game, obviously, personal reasons and everything. You managed to make it halfway through the game, but obviously we got off to a start. We settled in. We did that thing of, we've got the substitute teacher in Chris Revel sort of stepping in at the last minute and doing the PA. We're all fine. We're all settled. And then Wigan scored, and it was your voice. Nobody was expecting it, and I think all the players went, what?
Yeah.
Doctor Who read wrong? Is David Tennant
one of those things, Craig, I'm afraid. But we made up for it Tuesday, didn't we?
We did. I mean, it was lovely to know that you managed to get to some of the game on the Wigan game, but I think you befuddled the players, Al.
I thought he pre-recorded it. I thought he pre-recorded every single goal scorer.
I think we could do that.
That'd be different, wouldn't it?
I mean, we get people moaning about the AI intro song, which, you know, it's just we need something to give me time to press share, and it's too good. I enjoy dancing along and singing along to it, so it's staying. But I reckon we could do AI Al. I think that could, you know, I'm thinking in future years, right? I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but there's going to come a time where Alan, and I know you have to like drag him off of doing the PA, but there will come a time where he has to step away. But future generations need Alan, so I'm saying we AI Alan, and the voice of One Call Stadium or wherever Mansfield Town happen to play, 100, 200,000, 3,000, a billion years in the future, it's still Alan Wilson's voice.
No,
You can make a fortune out. You can make a fortune off that, couldn't you? Every time it's played, you get a bit of royalty.
somehow I don't think that'll quite happen.
I think we can make it happen. It starts here. In all seriousness, though, we are playing some cracking stuff, Jim, at the minute. I know you mentioned that, you know, we're lacking a little bit of a goal scorer in some areas because we've had chance after chance after chance. But I'm starting to see similar patterns to the year we got to the playoff final in terms of the way we're getting the ball down, trying to play, a little bit of confidence here and there. We're having these really good spells where things just seem to be lighting up in our favour.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the sort of it's the settledness again, isn't it? It comes back to the formation suiting what we've got, and a lot of a settled back four. I think remembering back to the season you mentioned, the playoff season, we had quite a settled back four for a long time, didn't we? Even though it was makeshift, it was quite settled for a long time. And you look at what we've got now: Noyle, Oshilarge is back, Fraser Blake Tracy's playing well, McLaughlin. There's a solid basis, especially with McDonald in front, and we are playing really well. Even against Wigan, we were the better side. Which it's just, there's a lot good about what we're doing. We move the ball well. We always create chances, and we do look solid. You know, hard to break down. It's just that last little bit, isn't it?
It is. Nick just took a massive gulp of tea. I think he knows what's coming next.
Yeah, yeah, we both do.
Does it begin with D?
Does.
Yeah, got 4 letters.
Dogs.
He's racking his brain now to think about what you just said. No. You were just talking about.
You made a podcast faux pas, Jim. Up there with one of the worst offences. You were listing players.
Oh, Dave. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Craig's face when I didn't notice at first, and then Craig's face. I thought, oh dear, what's she said there?
Sorry, Dave. Yeah, Dave.
We'll forgive you. We'll let you have one. That's your free one. The next one's a yellow card. That's your free one. It's your free one. To be fair though, Nick, I think a lot of what Jim says is there, or what Jack says is there, is absolutely spot on, isn't it? Because the parallels with that playoff season, you know, makeshift defence, some players playing out of decision, yet there's still a little bit of that confidence there. And you know, you look at the players, you go, right, you've got Sweeney on the bench, you've got other players that are coming back in, and yet still Dave's turning up, probably not training, just playing 90 minutes, solid as you like. Fraser Blake Tracy, natural left back, left wing back, slotted in at centre back, and you can't shift him. You know, the parallels are there, and I think it's really encouraging to see that the old Mansfield magic of Nigel Clough's tenure is still bubbling away as sharp as ever.
I know, and he's keeping a settled team, isn't he? Which is very un-Clough-like, I must admit. I don't know how many games now we've played the same team, but it's
5, I think, nice. Nick.
Yeah, it's 5 in a row, isn't it? And I think the interviewer asked Nigel if he'd ever done that in his career, and I think someone was going to go away and check, because I don't think he probably ever has. I mean, he said I've not had the chance because of injuries and stuff, but yeah, I don't think he's ever had 5 games in a row. And I think we've said it before, all the best seasons that I can ever remember is you could name the team, or you could name most of the team. You know, we've had seasons recently where at the times at the end of last season, you couldn't even name the back 4, let alone the rest of the team. Whereas now you're pretty much set for who he's going to play. And like you said as well, but we've got a very strong bench. The likes of Jordan. I mean, Jordan's very unlucky to be on the bench, without a shadow of a doubt. But again, Fraser Blake Tracy for me has been a bit of a revelation at centre back. I didn't have him playing at centre back at the start of the season in my Mansfield bingo card. I thought he'll be fighting it out with Mac at left back, and then you had McAdam at the time. He's not had a sniff recently. There's a lot of good players, and I think on the bench as well, they've made a massive. I mean, Hendry and Gardner, unbelievable off the bench. That's 2 games in a row now. They've come on and been absolutely, unbelievable. So there's 3 or 4 players on that bench, I think, pushing for a starting place without a shadow of a doubt. And I think Sad'll be interesting as well, seeing what team he plays. But I think for the first time in a long time, he could make 5, 6, 7 changes, and we're just as strong.
Yeah, massively. I think it says a lot, though, doesn't it, Al? Where we now class Sir Jordan of Bowery of the Jordan Bowery Bishop Street stands as an out-and-out defender. Even his position on the website and EFL list, etc., he's classed as a defender now. It says a lot that Jordan Bowery's a defender can't get on as a defender, so he's having to go back up front.
And then doing a job up there and then going back where he belongs.
Look at only Jordan Bowery could come on up front, score a goal, the bench.
Mr. Cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know little Nobby Welch made a bit of a faux pas out of it, but when it got to Jordan, it was so cool, wasn't it? He just slotted it where it needed to go.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Let's go back then a little bit to the Luton game, Jim. Obviously, critical in that game is how things fall your way, and I think the title of this show is obviously tonight at Cleverley Done, which is a play on Tom Cleverley, the Plymouth manager's surname, etc. But it was cleverly done at Luton as well, wasn't it? Because we got a little bit of luck going our way. They had the new manager bounce. We really did, sort of dig our feet in, but we got a little bit lucky. The penalty save, and I think Liam Roberts made a couple of saves before that as well, just goes to show how you need to rely on everyone from right in the middle of the goal all the way up to the front 2 to make things fall in your way. It's like dominoes falling at the right time.
It is, but I don't think it's looked great, to be honest with you. I think Liam Roberts is just a really good goalkeeper, and it's no luck he keeps making these saves. And you compare it to what we had last year, no disrespect to who was between the sticks last year, it really makes a massive difference. And I think he's worth 10 to 15 points a season, no doubt about it. And it's about time we had a bit of luck, to be honest with you. And as I say, I don't think it is luck. And we swung our own punches as well. I mean, we create chances like we always did and or like we always do. And I think we're where we are, merit. And that's not a goalkeeper's just as part of the team as a striker. So, but that I keep coming back to it, that we do need to address that. We've got a real team problem of not being ruthless enough with chances. We got away with it on Tuesday, but it's going to cost us sooner or later, for sure.
On the flip side of that, and I'll come to some comments in a minute, so keep them coming in and have your say on your team, as always, in the live feed comments. One thing to say, we talk about confidence at the back and keeping clean sheets and keeping tight, but over the last 3-4 games or so, Alan, confidence has been key, and certainly in the last 2, Will Evans went through a terrible, barren spell of not being able to put the ball in the back of the net. He's been moved out into a wider left position, which I know we spoke about a few weeks ago. I personally like him out there. I think he does a lot of damage. And, 2 goals in 2 games, and you can see the confidence in him now. We're very much a confidence-backed front 4, aren't we? And as long as we can keep that ticking over, I think we'll beat anyone.
Well, after the one that he scored against Wigan, I think it showed on Tuesday night. I didn't see, obviously, I wasn't there at the start against Wigan, but I've seen it back since. And it was a cracking finish. And I think that gave him the confidence, because you can see him now. I know he's always been all over the place, and he'll run down for, lost causes and everything. But it's just his determination seems to have gone up another 10% to me. And I mean, as he was running against those defenders, there's no way you were going to win that ball, or shouldn't have done. But he came out with it and he slotted it home perfectly. So I just think it shows that, that goal against Wigan, same as you say, it's built his confidence up. He's got another one now, and I can see him going on a run now, 2, 3, 4 games where he's going to score.
Yeah, it's what he did last season a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Nick, I think what I can see in him, though, is I can see a little bit of Oates' impact in Will Evans, in the way he's playing. Rhys Oates loves to watch that front line and cut across. We've seen it a number of times, sort of baffling defenders, running down the line, keeping the ball in play, being strong, being powerful, and reading the front line. And I'm starting to see a little bit more of that in Evans, and none more so than the goal he scored on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think the one thing I've always thought about Evans is when the responsibility is on him to get the goals, his performance drops massively. You look when Gregory was injured. The second Gregory was out last season, Evans' performance has just dipped, and I think part of that as well is him realizing, oh crap, I've got. If I don't score, no one else is going to score. Whereas in this team, when you've got the likes of Gardner and Hendry and Roberts and Oates and Mariah Welsh, and all, they're all interchangeable and they all do a bit of each other's role. I think that really does suit Evans because it doesn't. He's not the only one pressing as well. Like you say with Oates, last season Evans was the only one pressing, and little Nobby Welsh, sorry. I know. I'll take the warning. Alan's face. I don't know which one of the multiple nicknames I forgot, but I'm gonna have to have them written down.
Multiple. There's two.
I know. But anyway, I know. Yeah. But because they're all interchangeable and they all do a lot of pressing, I think Evans' game then he doesn't have to be the only one doing that job. And I think that has took a lot of pressure off him. And he is probably one of our biggest confidence players where I think if he's low in confidence, it really shows in his performance. Whereas when he's not got that pressure on him that he hasn't got, because like Clough said, I know he's still got to get goals, but he's on the wing now. It's a different role. He's not expected to score every game. Whereas when you're the main man up front and you're the only striker we've got, you've got to score goals. So I think that lack of pressure probably helps Evans. But you can't knock his work rate. And Oates, to be fair, I would have got rid of him last season. I was definitely one of the ones who said that. I thought he was too injury prone. He'd never really played at League One. He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant the last few games. And if he stays fit, he'll be a real asset.
I absolutely love that about him though, because it just shows what Nigel Clough expects in terms of attitude. Because you will see so many footballers that go through the same cycle of, I've got injured, I've been out for 6 months, I've had a really tough 2 seasons or whatever, and they get back in the squad and they're just arrogant and they expect to be there. What I see with Oates, Jim, is he's back in the squad, he's playing regular football every week, he's still building his fitness up, but he looks over to the bench, he looks up in the stand, and all of a sudden it's like this light bulb goes on and he sees that he's got this almost debt to pay back, this gratitude he's got to pay back to the manager who stuck with him, to the owners that have paid him for the last 2 years when he hasn't actually delivered on anything. He's just been a wage, which arguably last season you could have said, well, we should have really tipped him off and brought someone in, but it was that longer term vision. So the hunger, the desire to go and perform and to repay us, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it's going to be a 2 or 3 game thing. I think it's constantly going to be in his mind, which helps just raise everybody else's game as well, Jim.
Yeah, I think at a time when loyalty is not really in football anymore, I think this loyalty has been shown towards the player, and I think definitely he must feel like he owes a bit back. And I think we're seeing that. Plus, I think he's 30 years old now, and he probably thinks he's at a time in his career where he's got to cut out the silly mistakes, like the silly injuries, which a lot of his injuries have been self-inflicted, and he probably realises he's a little bit lucky to be kept on the books, and he is, let's be honest. And he's probably had a word with him. I'm sure he's had a word with himself. Now, come on, Reece, you need to get your act together here. And I should imagine Clough's not been shy on having that chat with him as well. And I think he's been a revelation. He really has. He's been brilliant. If he can keep this how he's playing now, he's worth the shirt. He really is. I mean, I've been critical of him in the past, but if he can play like this for another, stay fit like this for another good few months, then I'll stand corrected. And he's
One
been
thing
brilliant.
I've noticed with Oates is he doesn't chase as many stupid lost causes as he did last year, does he? Not last year, when he was fit. He used to chase everything and dive in and, like you say, throw himself at things. You go, what are you doing? Why are you closing that down there? You don't need to. And they just pass it around him and he'd be knackered after 40 minutes. Whereas now I think he seems to conserve his energy a bit. Maybe a bit of time on the training ground with Gregory last season when they were both, injured, and a bit of chats between them might have, had an effect on him, because he definitely doesn't run around like an idiot like he used to.
He's playing smarter, isn't he? But he had to, Nick, didn't he? Because he couldn't carry on making the same mistakes that he was. Plus, like Evans, I think from the out wide, this system really gets the best out of their strengths, no doubt about it.
Massively. The way that we interchange as well, that front four. Yeah, well, I was talking about it to people that I sit next to on Tuesday night, and we were saying, can you really say, has anyone got an out-and-out position? Because Evans will go and spend 5 minutes playing as a central striker, and T-Rob will drop out to the left-hand side, or Oates will sit in the centre attacking midfield role, or whatever. And little Nobby Walsh will switch over to the left or whatever. It's so fluid, and that that fluidity is so key to what we're doing. And one thing I was really worried about in the summer, Alan, was whether or not we would have the same loyalty and the same buy-in to what Clough wants to do, which is to have that fluid system, to be able to have the capabilities within you starting a lineup to go and play in 2 or 3 different roles across the 90 minutes. When you bring, 11 players in over the course of the window, that doesn't always happen. And yet we seem to have found it. And Clough keeps saying there's more to come from us, and there definitely is, because you look at I'm looking at the players that we've got missing who haven't really featured yet, who can all come into that system and do exactly the same thing. It's something's quietly bubbling, and not being overconfident or looking too far to the future, but it's such a reassuring thought to have, to know that every single player that we've brought in after a massive overhaul in the summer, let's face it, a massive overhaul to go to the next phase in Clough's plan, it's working and people are buying into it. It doesn't always work like that. So lucky.
I think it's because when you look at, you can look at McDonnell, you can look at Keeper Roberts, and you can look at Tyler Roberts. They've all had interviews lately, and everything that every one of those three have said categorically that, it's a family run club. It's like a family atmosphere, if you get what I mean. Everybody's playing for each other, even the people that aren't even in the squad. They're still urging people from the side. And I think that point, the point to prove there is from Azza. He's played in last, 4 or 5 games, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. He didn't get to look in to start the season, did he? He hasn't had a look in for a while. But as soon as he got his chance, he thought, well, I'm going to take it here. And by God, has he? And I think that's the point that you can make, with this like family atmosphere. Everybody gets on, even the Keeper Roberts was, so instrumental about it, weren't it, in his interview the other day? He couldn't believe, how lucky he is, basically, to be at the Stags now. He says thoroughly enjoying it, and same as all of them are. I mean, the chance will come when, things aren't going so well, and perhaps, they don't get a couple of results. And then we'll see, where it starts and, how it carries on, with the family stuff. But at the moment, you just can't see them faltering. And whoever comes in, if Azza failed one day and Marius came in when he was fit, I'm sure he'd do just as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your comments coming in. Let's have a little scroll through some of them. I might gloss over a few because we might have already talked about them, but I'll go through a few of them. Simon says, Tyler Roberts has been class, must give players around him confidence. I've also been really impressed with McDonald's consistency. Reads the game so well and breaks it up. We're looking solid. To be honest, Jim, I think that's a big part, McDonald, in the fluidity of the front four and allowing them to go and be so creative, because you've got the solid back four, which are really getting a good understanding with each other. Then you look at McDonald. He's really the only player within that system whose role is absolutely rigid. He's the anchor. He wins tackles. He breaks things up, and he allows us to go and play. And I think, like Dale has said in the comments, do you think with Sean Dyche getting the job at Forest, he will recall any of the lone players back? Well, to be honest, the only one I'm worried about really is McDonald, because he's clearly got the ability to play at a higher level. He's on the fringes of, breaking into the senior international side in terms of starting. I know he's been on the bench in the last couple of internationals and still sort of played in the 21s. For his development now to get into that international side, Forest will be saying to him, you need to be playing at championship bare minimum. So, it's going to be squeaky bum time in January if he continues to play on the level that he's doing.
Yeah, was it the Wickham game where he was missing, and we had to play that game, wasn't it? And I think the first goal we conceded was a goal he would have stopped. Basically, we all think, and he's fundamental to us looking hard to break down. And I think, was it against Wigan, he got booked in the first half, didn't he? And you could tell he had to stand off a bit then, and that really, I think Wigan clocked that pretty quickly, and I think they targeted that, and we looked. You could tell we went down a peg in terms of being solid to break down. And he is important from that point of view. But in terms of keeping him, I can't see Forest calling him back, because they've got a wealth of... They've got quite a bloated squad anyway. And he's not like... I've never classed him as Premier League quality on the ball, but I can't see us beating a championship club to his signature. I think he's out to reach. He'll be in the championship next season, I'd have thought. But yeah, but he has been. That's an issue we'll need to address at the end of the season. In the likelihood he goes, his influence will need replacing almost like for like.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. Must say, when Hendry and Gardner come on as subs, it's fantastic. Looks like Lewis has been practicing taking corners because they've improved on some of the rubbish from earlier this season and last, says Lee. Let's keep scrolling back up here then. Tom says, Oates knows he's fortunate that they've stuck with him. He's been brilliantly frustrating sometimes, but he's going through the more brilliant form at the minute. Simon adds, Oates seems to struggle when he has time to think in front of the goal. Not many better, though, with instinctive shots. Matt says, I don't think we're lacking goals. Evan, Roberts and Oates seem to be sharing them out. The way our attacking line play and some of the interchanging and knowing where each other are is also great. Just need some better finishing, adds Lee. Luke says Gardner needs a chance and he's changing the game when he comes on. Stags Chat says Tuesday night we should have got 3 or 4 in. I love how Roberts made the penalty save at Luton, then stood up and bowled the ball out to Oates, I think, straight away to go on the attack, says Lee. I'm going backwards through the comments now as well. And Simon says, are we playing it better away from home? We seem to enjoy and relax being the underdog, plus louder support. For me, Nick, it's a bit of an interesting one, that. When you look at the way that we are away from home and at home, I don't think it impacts us too much. I think it's just about us finding our rhythm early on in the game. If we get on top in the first half an hour or so, I think after that first 30 minutes, you tend to know how it's going to go for Mansfield.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, I think. I think we played better at home this year than we did last season. I know it started the season last year with a couple of good home results, but the last few home games, I thought we've looked relatively comfortable. We beat Rotherham, obviously one Tuesday night. We should have really beat Wigan. I mean, I've been to 2 away games and we lost them both, so maybe it's just me, or us.
Yeah, roll on Cardiff.
Craig. Roll off. I'm Northampton, yeah. So yeah, if anyone wants to know, we are going to Northampton, so we probably won't win. But I don't know. I think the home form has been pretty good, actually. I don't think we've played badly at home. There's been the odd performance at the start of the season. Donny wasn't great, was it? But we were playing the 5 at the back then. I think every game we've played 4 at the back at home. We've not lost, have we, yet at home with 4 at the back, as far as I can remember?
Not from what
I can think of. So I don't know. I don't think there's a bigger disparity this year as there was last year, where at the start of the season we were playing well away from home. So yeah, I don't think there's a massive difference, to be honest. Just picking up on the O'Donnell thing, the McDonald thing. Sorry, a bold prediction that I think he might be the best player I've seen, other than maybe Lawrence, because he went to play in the Premier League, didn't he? But he's got to be one of the best players I've seen at Stags in 26, 27 years I've been going. Got to be up there with one of the better, and he could get so much better. So yeah, I think like Simon says, and enjoy watching him because he won't be here for very long. But the only worry with that is it's January, isn't it? That they could do what Stoke did with the lad from Walsall last year when they said, oh, he needs to be in league. Or Louis Barry when he was at Stockport, they nicked him in January, didn't they, and sent him somewhere else.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Alan. I mean, was it Ben Whiteman that people used to rave about?
Yeah.
I never watched him.
Sheffield United.
Yeah,
he's a good player. He was a really good player.
Yeah, so he's sort of maybe a similar player to that, but yeah, he's got a huge future ahead of him. So let's just hope that we can keep hold of him for the rest of the season, because I think that's probably realistically, Alan, when you look at the squad, the only really area that we're sort of short at the minute. I know we've got Lewis Reed coming back, and he'll probably get some minutes over the next 2 games in the cups. George Maris on the fringes, but personally, I don't. As much as I love Giorgio Mauricio, I don't think he's that role. I don't think he's suited to that defensive role. I think he's another option for playing higher up for me. I know you're a big advocate. You're the chair of the Giorgio Mauricio support.
I would class him as more of a 10. I like to see him a little bit further up. Personally, yeah. But I think there's a lot of people saying that, about, we're going 5 games, unbeaten. But nothing's particularly been made of how important Dave was coming back in when he was barely, playing any football. He's been superb, hasn't he? and it all clicked on from there. He's got this partnership with FBT. McDonald's gone where he's supposed to be at left back. And, Kyle Noyle, I was one at the start of the season where, I do like Elliot Hewitt. I always have done, same as Oatsy. But fair play to Kyle Noyle, is keeping that position his own, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, Jim, Kyle Noyle is one of those who has perhaps gone under the radar a little bit. We're raving about other players in the squad, but Noyle has just sort of coming in. To be honest, it feels like he's been here for about 4 or 5 years.
I think he's been superb. After Liam Roberts, I think he's probably been our best summer signing, McDonald aside. But with Noyle, he's not flash, and he's obviously got a lot of ability, and he's quick, and he reads the game well. But for me, he always seems to make the right decision. And he never tries to do too much, and he's just always on point and reliable. And I think he's really shored us up. And he doesn't seem to attack much, but I'm all right with that. His job his bread and butter is just keeping us tight. And I think he's been very unsung. I think he does a lot of work that perhaps is not always highlighted. He's not flash, but no, I think he's your sort of players like that are the glue to the team, aren't they? That you need, and they're as important as anybody really.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. I know we mentioned it earlier a little bit, Nick, but at what point do we look at the league table? Because for me, I genuinely don't care. I still maintain that this is not a season where we'll be successful. I think this is still a season where we will churn over. We're going to hit some bad form at some point, but very much like last year, this is the time of the season for me where we need to be consistent, get those points coming in, and if we're doing that with a half-fit squad, then it's a bonus.
Yeah, I think the reason why I don't look at the league table, there was somebody at work was saying, "Oh, Plymouth are miles off it, aren't they, this season?" And before Tuesday night, I looked, and they were 6 points off us. Yet they were 22nd, and we were 8th. Yeah. So just if they'd have won on Tuesday night, they'd have been 3 points behind us, and they'd have been something like 18th or 19th. Yet they'd have been 3 points behind us. It just shows a couple of bad games. Unfortunately, 3 losses, and we could be in the bottom 4. That's how tight this league, and this league is always notoriously tight. Same as League 2, but it's more this time of the year, I guess, about trying to get some early points, but also the performances, isn't it? And looking like we're trying to score goals and looking solid in defence. And I dare say we've had more clean sheets in the last few games than we had at the start of last season. I know we were doing well, but when you look back, we won 4, lost 4, won 4, lost 4. It was a bit up and down, wasn't it? Whereas I feel like we're a little bit more consistent this season, and I feel we're a lot stronger defensively. And I think the odd couple of injuries here and there wouldn't completely throw the defence. Like last season, we lost 1. You lose Dave, and that's it. Whereas this year, you throw Barry in instead of Dave, and we're just as strong. I would argue. You lose Noyle, you've got like Al said, I know Hewitt has been injured, but you've got Hewitt, you've got Bowery to go in there, you've got McAdam, you've got FBT and McLaughlin at fullback. So on Cargill, we'll forget about Cargill, then he's got to come back into the team as well. And Sweeney, as much as the comments don't particularly seem to agree with Sweeney at the minute, bless him. So yeah, I think at the table at the minute, I wouldn't look at it, but it is nice when you do catch a glimpse of it and you see that we're 6 points off top. But I don't know if maybe it's just me being boring, but I just want to stay up again.
No, we just
get more points and slightly higher than last season. I'll snap your hand off.
You know what it is?
8th, 9th, 10th. I'm not bothered. Whatever. Just let's stay up. Have another season. More quality in the squad for next season. Keep Clough job. Yeah, that's all I kind of want.
The thing for me now is to establish Mansfield Town as a League One club, not a club that are having a couple of seasons in League One and will drop back down to League Two. With the greatest respect, Port Vale, I'm looking at them. They yo-yo up and down between the two. They couldn't really dig the hills in. Every time they get up, they seem to struggle. They don't really have a good seat. I want us to be.
Lincoln is a good one, isn't it? I think exactly. Lincoln's a good blueprint. That sort of odd push for the playoffs. Good squad.
Yeah. Good fan base. Similar area, similar sort of numbers. And go quietly about the business, and they might have a good season where they flirt with it. And if you look historically over what we've done under Nigel Clough, Alan, what we have done is we've created a blueprint season upon season, which we've just sprinkled into. And this season for me was the reset button. Bringing 11 players says exactly that. So if we can get that momentum to take into next season, realistically, it'll be next season where I'm looking and thinking, well, this is where we should perhaps have, a playoff push would be an overachievement, but we should be really finishing, top 10. It's just about keeping that bunch together and starting to get. I've just headbutted the microphone. Keep sort of rolling forward, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the blueprint, isn't it? To get you 50 points this year again, or anywhere around the 50 points, as soon as you can, and then move on again, finish maybe just above halfway, and then get a little bit more quality, like Nick says, in the squad for next year, make a bigger push again. But like you said, let's get stabilised first in League One, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you just never know what might happen after that. I mean, John Radford's always said he wants to be in the Championship, or he wants to make a push for the Championship, and you can't knock the bloke. Let's keep it going. Yeah, and also, to throw into the mix, let's have a cup run.
Well, funny you should say that, because we're going to talk about that after these.
Protect what matters most with Actifier Limited.
Your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters Podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifier Limited today or visit actifier.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifier Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters Podcast.
We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield Town every day.
You're back with the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. Alan, before the break, mentioned cup runs, Jim. And, I think as a League One side, the bare minimum that we need to be achieving in the FA Cup is definitely round 3. It is, however, based upon luck of the draw. This time round, we've got a League 2 side in Harrogate. We played them in the Nobody Cares Trophy a month or so ago, and they got a narrow 1-0 win. But it'll be a much stronger Stag side against Harrogate on Saturday. But regardless of that, let's look at the competition as a whole realistically and what it actually does for, a team like Mansfield. It can be the blueprint to our success if we have a little bit of luck go our way.
Yeah, I agree with Alan. I think a good cut run is magic for the morale, even though morale's good anyway. You go back to that playoff season, I think it was a FA Cup run which coincided with us picking up form, wasn't it? So, yeah, and it's good for the fans, it's good for everybody, and it's enjoyable. I'm looking forward to Saturday because, for me, the priority will always be the league. So if we get knocked out of the FA Cup, I ain't going to lose any sleep, but it's nice going to the game. I won't call it a free hit, but, not feeling sick with nerves like we do before most league games. But I think we should win Saturday. We'll be a strong, hungry side out. I expect us to beat them. And it'd be nice to have another away day like we did at the Hill Dickinson come round 3. I think it's nice. You don't feel like you've got much to lose, to be honest with you. We're not going to win the FA Cup, but we could have a nice little, some nice days out.
Yeah, we certainly can. I mean, Alan, for me, it's an interesting conjure because obviously on Tuesday night as well, we've got the final group game against Huddersfield in the Very Few People Care Cars Milk Bottle Trophy, whatever it's called this week. Whatever it's called this week.
The Stuff Cross Cup.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where what do we do on Saturday? Because I think there's going to be a little bit of rotation, but bearing in mind we've got that game on Tuesday night, I don't think there'll be as much rotation as what Nigel Clough would typically do.
No, he mentioned in the interview after the match against Plymouth, he said there'd probably be a couple. That's what he said, couple. I can see either 2, maybe 3. But like you say, we've got that on Tuesday night where, the fringe players will get more than, 60 minutes in the legs, in the tank again. So I can't see him making too many changes. And like he said himself, that we wanted to, progress in the cup. Let's get in the second round. And he wanted to win Tuesday night as well. And see, where it takes us.
Well, we'll come on to Tuesday night in a couple of minutes, Nick, but let's stay with the FA Cup first and just sort of looking at what it can do for your club. Obviously, ticket revenue aside, looking at some of the prize money in the FA Cup this time around this season. £47,750 is the prize money for first round proper winners. 15,800 if you lose in the first round. 79,500 is if you win the second round, and 21,200 if you lose the second round. If you then go on and win the third round, 121,500. Just to get to round 3 is pretty much over, it's well over 100 grand, isn't it? So that can really stand us in good stead. And then, Nick, if we get a good, a good tie in round 3 as well, and we can benefit from some ticket revenue, everyone's a winner.
Yeah, I'd love to know how much we did make from the Everton trip. I think, it'd be nice I know they're never going to tell us, but it would be nice to work that one out, because I think that coupled with a good FA Cup run would bankroll us for a couple of seasons, you'd think. I mean, if you remember Cloughy saying that, didn't the Man United game for Burton and then the Man City ones bankroll them for about 10 years? The amount of cost, the amount of money they made from going to Old Trafford. So for me, I think the FA Cup as well, it's about the fans, isn't it? I mean, you think the day out we had at Curzon Ashton last year, Clive lost his car keys down the toilet. We wouldn't have had that, would we? If we'd have been at home, we wouldn't have lost any car keys down any sort of toilet latrine in the middle of Manchester. But yeah, I like I would like to a random away game, the Team Bath or the Concord Rangers or the random Harrogate Railways we've been to. But hopefully Saturday we'll have a nice win, then maybe an obscure non-league away day, and then the third round. But I think it's come at a good time for Stags, because I think some of the players who've played 5 games in a row could do with a bit of a rest. And he can try a few other players out, and then Tuesday he'll probably rotate it a little bit more. But like Jim said, I do like cup games, especially when there's no pressure because you're doing well in the league. The cup doesn't matter so much, does it? If we'd have lost 2 or 3 in the league, the likes of Plymouth, they're going to be bang up for needing to really win in the FA Cup. Whereas for us, it's a bit of a not quite a free hit, but it doesn't matter as much, does it? So we can go out there and win. I do wish, though, on one point they've opened the Bishop Street.
Yes.
So I could have tried that. Why aren't they doing that? I want to try. I'm sat in the bloody West Stand, aren't I? I'm in the wrong stand anyway.
Yeah, they're only funny because
they're not in the little one.
They're not expecting many fans out for it, so they've only opened the.
I'd like the Bishop Street. That's what I'd like to have tried it, but never mind. I have to wait.
You've got to. I understand it. You're going to open your biggest stand because that's going to be. You want it. It's not going to be full. I think we'll probably get about 4,500 at a push on Saturday.
And 4.5/5 fans from Harrogate.
From Harrogate, yeah. There's not going to be that many. It's not an appealing tie. I know people bemoaned it, Alan, but realistically, without being overly arrogant, we shouldn't have any problems whatsoever getting through relatively easily on Saturday. But we need to make sure that we switched on, because it's a home game. We're not going to benefit from massive ticket money. We're not going to sell out the away stand, so we're not going to benefit there. We're not going to sell out all the home seats, so we're not going to benefit there. The only thing we're going to benefit from is prize money. So in a way, I think there is probably more pressure on Saturday than what there was on Tuesday night against Plymouth.
That's it. 2 things. Get 47 grand banked. Thank you very much. And also put this bogey side to bed. Harrogate. They've beat us once. They've been a bit awkward before. Let's have another 9-2. That'd be nice.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. In terms of team selection, though, I know Nigel Clough has intimated that there'll be a couple of changes. Who and why would you like to see start on Saturday, Jim? Because I think my opinion might differ from the rest of you, so it's going to be interesting to garner opinion here.
I'd like to see Hendry start. I think he's due a start. I think Dickovs was lucky not to get more of a look in. And I think we've discussed this before, Craig. We could see Aikens starting on Saturday. But I don't know. I think Nigel Clough will field a strong side. He likes the FA Cup. And I'd like to see a strong side. And then I would make the changes for the game next week, midweek. And I wouldn't be changing too much, if I'm perfectly honest. I want to get through. And there's still players like Dave building up his fitness who could still do with game time. And I wouldn't be changing a lot to be honest. Not for Saturday.
Alan, what about you? What would you be? Who would you be looking to bring in and see get some minutes on Saturday?
I would probably change 2, but I'd probably put Gardner in and take either Evans or Oates out, put him on the bench, and I'd like to see Henry, but also Dom Dwyer. Dom Dwyer's not been getting, and I would imagine he'll play following Tuesday. But get him some minutes because, the instinct inside the box, he's the one who can finish. But he's not getting much of a chance at the minute, which is, you can't condone it because others are playing well and, we're winning. So, but he'll bide his time and he'll be there in the end. That he will. I'm pretty confident of that. He'll come good.
Nick, what about you?
Definitely Gardner, Hendry. As much as I think Sweeney's probably got to get a chance, because as much as we say he's been poor, he's a club captain, he's on big wages. He's probably going to have to play at some point. I think he has to play in these 2 fixtures. And as much as some don't want him to play, I think I would probably play Sweeney. And maybe Sweeney and Bowery, because I think Jordan needs to play. Noyle's had a lot of games, so maybe Bowery right back, as much as I do like Bowery in the middle. Up front, I think Alan's right. I think probably Oates for me out, and maybe keep Evans because he's in a bit of a scoring streak. Then the problem I've got with Dwyer is, and I really do like Dwyer. He's been awful when he's played in the stuff.
Doesn't suit the one up front, doesn't he? Doesn't suit.
No, he doesn't. And it's a shame because, like Alan said, his instinct is unbelievable. So I think I might play him Tuesday and not Saturday. Aikens, the only thing with Aikens Tuesday, he's got a bit of history with Huddersfield, hasn't he? I think the incident happened up that way and he played for them. So, maybe that takes into it. I don't know. But, would I mind seeing Aikens on that right instead of our little Nobby? Maybe not. I don't mind him playing at home on Saturday. I don't know how fit he is, but anyone lacking fitness, get him into these next 2 games. But I agree with what you've all said. Maybe change 3, maybe maximum 4 on Saturday, and then change whoever you want on Tuesday. I mean, do we go through if we win? I haven't looked at the table. If we beat Huddersfield, do we go? Is that it?
To win, we have to beat Huddersfield. Can't be on penalties. We have to get 3 points, and we will go through.
Can we still not go through if we win? If the results go right, so it's just a win and we go through. Okay.
Yeah, win at Huddersfield and we go through in second place.
It'd be nice to go through, wouldn't it?
Well, I think we need to. I think for me, you look at the squad that we've got. You look at the players that we've got. That constantly need game time. After this point, it's going to give you. When you get to the knockouts, it's going to give you 1 game a month, realistically. Yeah. 1 extra.
You get a bit of money there. You get a little bit of money for it.
All right, we're not going to get the crowd for it, but the prize money is still ridiculously good for that competition, and it atones for the lack of support that you're getting. And to be honest, the further you go in that competition, the more bums on seats you start seeing because you're thinking we've got an outside chance of Wembley here.
We're the 8th highest ranked team in that cup.
Yeah,
we should. We're the 8th best team according to league form in that entire competition.
Yeah, not being arrogant. Realistically, Mansfield should be winning that competition. We're in League One side now, and we
should be in the shout.
Yeah, we should be getting to the later stages of that competition every season. Now we should be getting out of the group stage and maybe getting through the first knockout and giving it a go. Going back to Saturday, though, interesting. Nobody's mentioned the change that I'd make for that. I do agree with most of you. I would make a few changes outfield. I think a lot of the fringier players, if you like, your Maris's, your Dickoffs, your McAdams, they're playing Tuesday. They've already been put in Tuesday. But I've written down. I'm not going to. I've written the outfield players that I've written down for Saturday. JB9 as JB2 at right back. I think we don't need to play Kyle Noyle on Saturday at all. He's come off in the last couple of games, if you've noticed, and seemed to have been struggling after probably 75, 80 minutes. Give him a rest. We don't really need to play him. Have him on the bench. I'd play Dave because he's a solid choice, stable choice. Sweeney gets in. He needs a game, and I think he needs a game at home in front of a bigger crowd as well to establish himself back in. Macker at left back, keep him there. McDonnell and Lewis keep their places in that CDM sort of area. Little Nobby Walsh on the right hand side, and Hendry comes in for Roberts in the middle. Evans keeps his place on the left, and then Dwyer goes up front. In goal, do we really need to play Liam Roberts on Saturday?
I think he will.
I would.
Yeah, I think so.
He's not going to get injured. He's not going to get injured, is he? For me, and I think he's better than Mason times probably 20. That's my. Yeah, he could play Mason. I don't think he'd let us down, but Roberts is 50 times the goalkeeper.
It won't
I think we'd be silly if we lost because of a Mason mistake and we went out and you went, well, why didn't you just play Roberts?
He's going to get his chance Tuesday, isn't he, Mason?
Yeah.
Do you not fancy Gardner, Craig? Considering how good he's been, he's not had many minutes. Do you not fancy throwing Gardner in there?
I didn't write him down, to be fair.
Okay.
I think that's the one for. He seems to slot in that left-hand side. For me, Evans is playing with a bit of confidence on the left, so I want to keep him ticking over.
Gardner can play in the middle, can't he? But then, like you say, you've gone for Hendry. So it depends maybe who's the fittest of those two might play in the middle, because Cloughy seems to like Gardner sometimes down the middle.
And on the Mason thing, I know he's going to play Tuesday, and he will play Tuesday. But I genuinely don't see a reason why we shouldn't play him on Saturday either. He's played against Harrogate already this season in the Nobody Cares Trophy. They didn't trouble him. He looked comfortable as anything when he played last time against who was it? Was it a weak Rotherham? Was it Rotherham that played at the end of last season when he came in
Peterborough?
Yeah,
Peterborough.
Yeah. He looked like, if we're going to develop a number 2 goalkeeper, the number 2 goalkeeper needs to be playing cup football. I would have said if we'd have been playing a fellow League One side, I'd have probably said, yeah, all right, you go with your League One, your league team, you play your number 1 and Roberts. But is a young goalkeeper who needs game time to develop. Yes, I know he's going to get it on Tuesday, but there's no reason he shouldn't do it and be playing him on Saturday, because I know the likelihood of Liam Roberts getting injured or suspended or whatever playing in that Harrogate game is very minuscule and very little, but you never know. And if we're serious about giving our number 2 goalkeeper, who's a young player that's come through, an opportunity to shine and stamp his authority on the game, then why not against a League 2, an average League 2 side with a back 4 in front of him who were capable, who were decent enough, who were experienced enough to not really see him troubled. I see no reason why we can't do it. I understand why he won't do it and why it will be Roberts on Saturday. And not for a second am I saying drop Roberts, I don't like him. I'm just saying we need to consider developing our young goalkeeper. Otherwise, we might as well just send him out on loan somewhere and just let one of the younger kids sit on the bench for the experience. It's not doing his development.
But does he? Clough never does. Like Flinders didn't play any of the FA Cup games last year. He just played the Pizza Cup, which is weird. It just seems a Cloughism, doesn't it? That his number 2 only plays the Football League trophy games and not the. Was it Curzon Ashton that Pim played? That was the game, wasn't it, last year? Yeah. We were like, why on earth is Pim playing against Curzon Ashton?
Yeah. Can I just make one point, Craig? How fast is Dickoff? Did you see him when he came on Tuesday night from the bottom end and he moved right up to the top? You're like watching Linford Christie. That lad can shift.
Well, like Eisden Christie.
Yeah, Eisden. He was quite sharp as well, but he was skillful as well, Eisden.
He should. Right, so that's cup competitions ticked over. We'll obviously keep an eye on that. Everybody will get 90 minutes over the next 2 games. That's for absolute sure. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest to actually see us go for a 6th consecutive game where we don't change anything at all. We'll wait and see. We'll find out on Saturday. But we need to finally wrap off the last few games, because I keep getting messages. I keep getting inbox messages from people. Craig, when a podcast prediction's going to be on social media? What's the latest on podcast predictions? Look, Ben, the PPG, the podcast predictions guru, has been on holiday. I've been on holiday. Shut up, I'm doing it now.
The game of the luck, who gives up, don't mess it up. I hear you say, how do you play? Win, lose or draw, then pick a score and one more thing. Pick a hero, don't score 0, that's the game. But we're not fools, but this game has rules. Remember the rhyme. Podcast predictions. Podcast predictions. Remember the rhyme. Guess on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. Podcast predictions.
Right. Off podcast predictions then, shall we, and give you the results for the last two games. Let's start with a 1-1 draw against Wigan. Nobody picked a 1-1 draw. It was a low-scoring week in podcast predictions. 3 people were tied, to be honest, on 9 points. They were Aaron Wood, Stephen Pound, and Sam Patman. And the fantasy points: Evan could have scored you 8. Little Nobby Walsh got you 7, Dave got you 5, McConnell and McLaughlin got you 4, STC and Oates got you 3, Doyle Lewis, Liam Roberts, Tyler Roberts got you 2, Dick Harry Gardner and Henry got you 1, and -5 for anyone else. Moving on to Tuesday night, 11 people predicted a 2-0 win, but there was only one who could top the table with their choice of fantasy player. And that person was me! I went for McDonald as my fantasy captain, and that was what got me all the points. He was the best player in fantasy 6 with 11 points. Evans and Dave got you 10 apiece. Liam Roberts, S&T got you 9. Bowery got you 8. Lewis, McLaughlin and Moyle got you 7. Little Robbie Walsh got you 6. Susan Oates got you 3. Tyler Roberts would have got you 2. Hendry, Gardner, Dwyer, and Tickhoff got you 1. -5 if you pick anyone else. Yeah, but Crane, it's the end of the month. What about who's there in the podcast predictions table? All right, chill out. It's on screen now. Let me get rid of the banner at the bottom. It always gets the bloody way. Right. As you can see, leading the way at the top is Matt Pearcey with 175 points. In second place, Olivia Wilson. Third place is Simon Wilson. In fourth, it's Chris Vincent. Fifth is Steve Nadin. Sixth is Limbo 74. In seventh, it's me on 127. Kathy Holmes in eighth, 125. Our Jim on 123 in ninth. And Will Pound in 10th on 115. I'll leave the podcast predictions on screen for a couple of minutes or so you can find out where you are. I will, if I remember, post this in full tomorrow so you can see where you are. And remember that we don't do predictions for the cup games. So the next game we will predict will be Northampton a week on Saturday. But just for a bit of fun, how do you think we'll do on Saturday? I don't want a fantasy player, Jim. I just want an outcome and a scoreline, please.
Oh, 3-1 home win.
Alan?
Same, 3-1.
Nick?
2-1 win.
Mansfield Town 17, Harrogate 3 will be the score on Saturday. And I can say it because we don't do podcast predictions for it. So make sure if you...
Alan's voice would be gone, wouldn't it?
It would be gone. And Jordan Bowery's going to score all 17. Make sure you follow us on all things social media. I'll pop this table on there for you to have a look at tomorrow. And a reminder that we don't do predictions for the cup games. So the next one will be Northampton a week on Saturday. But all of the November fixtures are on the link now. So if you want to go and do them early, you can absolutely feel free to go and do it. Right. I've got a question. I've got a vital question. And it's this. Oh, so I've pressed the wrong one. I changed the background. Meant to press the intro video. You can tell we've not done it for a bit. Seamless. This is why we'll never win awards. I've got a question. I've got one simple question, and it's this.
Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe?
Love that jingle. It is a genius feature called Alan, Where's You Been? In homage of our Alan Wilson and his former bin man days. Nick, me and Clive took him to Birmingham and Big Tone at the end of last season in the middle of the bin crisis in the city of Brum, and he just could not resist tidying those bins up. So we've decided to come up with a feature called Alan, Where's You Been? Alan Wilson has got a location. He's going to give us some clues as to where he is. They get progressively easier. If you get it on the first clue, you get 5 points, then 4, then 3, then 2. And you know how it works. It's as simple as that. And the way it works is Alan is going to read out his there it is. Just need to swap you around. There you go. That's better. Alan's going to read out his clues one by one. If we think we know the answer, all we need to do, chaps, is put our hand in front of our cameras, and then Alan will come to us and we will say what we think that answer is. If, for whatever reason, we all get it on the same one, we will we'll write it down, and we'll trust each other to not copy. I think we can trust each other to not copy. So if you think you know what the answer is, hold your hand in front of your camera. So just have a little practice. There you go. That's it. Perfect. Spot on. Right. And Alan will come to you with the answer. So, Alan Wilson, it's over to you.
Right.
Alan, where's your bin?
For 5 points. They became a professional football club in 1883 after originally starting as a cricket club. That's for 5 points. Became a professional football club in 1883 after originally starting as a cricket club. Any ideas?
Did we say that? Can you guess as many times as you want? What was the rule on that, Craig?
Alan, that's up to you. I'll let you decide that.
Yeah, if
we get a guess each round.
Pardon?
Should we have a guess each round where we all get to guess it each round?
You can if you want. That's fine. I'm saying Craig got it on 4 points last time we did it.
Did he?
He did very well.
Oh my goodness me! I don't know. I missed that, so I don't know what the answer was. I could be.
I made it a little bit harder this time.
So I think
all the promotions gave it away, didn't they? Pardon?
Colchester United.
No.
Fulham.
Moving on.
No.
Port Vale.
No. Right, for 4 points. This team was the first team to achieve the double of the league and the FA Cup. For 4 points, this team was the first team to achieve the double of the league and the FA Cup.
Preston North End.
Correct.
No way.
Well done.
Well done, Nick.
How on earth did you get that, Nick?
I had a feeling that Preston were very successful when football started, and I knew they'd won the FA Cup very, very early. And I thought to myself, I'm sure they won the league because
that's amazing. I'm going to have to make it even harder because the other clues were the third clue was a very famous ex-Liverpool manager used to play for them with his initials BS.
No.
Bill Shankly. Second, 2 points. They sit 7th in the championship.
I wouldn't have got that either.
Narrowed it down a bit, but I wouldn't have got it exact, but it would have narrowed it down a little bit.
For 1 point, they play at Deepdale.
I'd have got that.
Yeah.
I'd have got that.
That's amazing.
4 points. Look at that. Get ready.
There you go.
Quality.
Well, there you go. And that concludes...
Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your babe?
What a feature. What a feature that is indeed. Right, we will return to everything Mansfield Matters and everything Where's You Been and wrapping up all of that sort of stuff soon. And stay tuned for the return, a masterful return of Let's Get Quizzical. We need to find our new quiz champion. Right, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Cup games to come then with Harrogate at home and then Huddersfield away on Tuesday in the Nobody Cares Trophy. Make sure you join us next week to recap all of that. However, before we go, how far can we get in the competition? One word answer from you both. First and foremost, will we get through round 1 in the FA Cup on Saturday against Harrogate? Jim?
Yes.
Nick?
Absolutely.
Alan?
Yes.
And on Tuesday, will we overcome the odds and progress in the Nobody Really Cares car milk dog food trophy, get through the group stage and miraculously go on and win the competition? Alan?
No.
Jim?
Negative.
Nick?
Nada.
You pessimists. Sadly, that's all we've got time for on this week's Mansfield Matters podcast. My thanks, as ever, to the Mansfield Matters podcast panel and, of course, to you guys at home for watching and for listening. A reminder that podcast predictions doesn't happen for cup competitions, but all of the November games are now on the link for you to get involved if you want to get them in early. Who will be top at the end of November? We will, however, be back next week as we recap on Cup action, FA Cup action against Harrogate and the Nobody Cares Trophy, well, except me, against Huddersfield on Tuesday night. So make sure you follow us on all things social media to find out when we're next going to be live. Here's hoping we can have a repeat of that phenomenal 9-2 victory over Harrogate and get one over Huddersfield too in the week. As always, keep following us on social media and keep cheering on the Stags. And you never know, we might get more Bowery moments in the future. Good night.
Protect what matters most with Actifier Limited.
Your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifier Limited today or visit actifier.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifier Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.